Welcome to Impact News. Folks, I got to tell you a story about Florida former gubernatorial candidate Andrew Gillum. He also was the mayor of Tallahassee, Florida. Guess what? He has been vindicated, and he can now resume his life, folks. That's what federal prosecutors say. They're moving to dismiss their Andrew Gillum indictment. This after Gillum was acquitted of some charges, and jurors overwhelmingly favored acquitting Gillum and then urged prosecutors to drop all of the charges, to just drop the case. Now, we should tell you that those charges took a very heavy toll on Andrew Gillum, because you'll remember in the last few weeks of the Florida gubernatorial election, remember, Gillum found himself playing defense, folks. That's right, after the release of records that undermined the mayor's explanations about his role in the long-running undercover probe about money. And we all know who had to be behind that mess, because we know there were only 33,000 votes. That Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, he only won by 33,000 votes. And you had to ask yourself, how did that happen in Florida, where many people were all said they were for Andrew Gillum? Well, we now know what happened. Who do you think would have been a better governor for Florida? Ron DeSantis, the current governor, who's a white nationalist and is doing everything he can to destroy people of color, to destroy their lives, not to mention people who are of lower income. Who do you think would have been a better governor? The current governor, Ron DeSantis, or Andrew Gillum? With all his faults, Andrew Gillum is still an empathetic person. He's an intelligent person. He ran the city of Tallahassee. My hope is that he runs for mayor again, because he is certainly better than the current mayor. Let me know what you think. Beginning with your news, of course, I am Carol Angela Davis, bringing you the news from around the neighborhood and all around the world. First, we're going to start with news from the hip-hop world. From Missouri, a high schooler there, well, she is suspended, folks, because she recorded her teacher using the N-word. That's right, folks. That's what you get suspended for these days. Student Mary Walton, she was told not to attend class because of inappropriate use of her electronic device. Her teacher, well, that person was put on administrative leave, folks. It happened at Glendale High School. That's located there in Springfield, Missouri. Mary Walton said the teacher said the N-word 6 times, but she was able to record 2. She said her teacher told her to put her phone away when he realized that she was recording him. She refused, so she was sent to the office. On the way there, she sent the video to her mother. Her mother sent the video out, and it went viral, folks. Thank goodness for these recording devices. The teacher's name, again, has not been released. Walton's lawyer says that the school tried to discourage students from reporting whenever a teacher does something outrageous. Well, that failed, and students continue to record these terrible incidents. Also today, an online fundraiser for Daniel Perry's legal fees, folks. It has already raised upwards of $2 million. Oh yeah, you remember him. He's a 24-year-old white Marine who put Daniel Penny in a chokehold for 10 minutes on the New York subway until he died. Now they're giving him $2 million for his defense fund. This is shameful. Penny, as you know, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, who we all know who he is, there's just no question as to what his preferences are. He seems to be an absolute white nationalist. He supported Penny's fundraiser. Yes, he did, referring to Penny as a good Samaritan. Well, I guess he killed a black man, so for DeSantis, that must make him a good Samaritan. It's disgraceful. Neely, as we know, struggled with mental health issues. The entire incident, again, fortunately, was captured on video. And then moving on from New York, Bellevue Hospital says it is investigating after a white female employee attempted to take, that's right, a black man's city bike. Now, it's another video, of course, that has gone viral. She appears to be attempting to take the bike from the black man. While the video clearly shows he is not harming her, she begins to scream for help and accuses him of attacking her, as he tells her several times that he's rented the bike. It's in his name. Okay, so now she tries to take the bike anyway. All right, prominent civil rights attorney Ben Crump, you know who he is, of course. He has condemned the woman's behavior, saying she tried to weaponize her tears to paint this black man as a threat. All right, also today, new election season, same old mean, petty Trump. That's right, folks. This time he was enabled by CNN. That's why their ratings are down lower than Newsmax. And they gave him a political rally masquerading as a town hall. The Republican presidential candidate has been charged with more than 24 felony counts. He told viewers during the town hall that he harbors implicit bias towards black people. These men are so threatened by black people. It's really, really, really pathetic. All right, let's move on, folks, to Alabama Senator, U.S. Senator Tommy Tuberville. He's criticizing President Joe Biden and Democrats because they want to block white nationalists from serving in the military. Tuberville singling out certain ideologies like white nationalism. Oh, yeah, he says that makes America look weak. Oh, please. He also said he didn't even know there were white nationalists in the military. Well, why are you talking about it then? Okay? Oh, my goodness. As we all know, concerns about extremism have been on the rise since Donald Trump took office in 2017. Now, let's go to the New Hampshire college that hosted Donald Trump's fake town hall that was really a campaign rally that aired on CNN. All right, now that college, St. Anselm College, is of course condemning the former president, as they should. The college says it was deeply troubled by the former president's remarks during his civil trial with a finding that he was liable for sexual assault. They say equally disturbing was the audience's reaction, all of whom were not members of the St. Anselm community. And they laughed at many of the former president's remarks as nasty as they were. All right, let's move on. From Texas, a woman was reportedly shot dead by her boyfriend for revenge after she got an abortion. Harold Thompson is 22 years old. He's allegedly killed 26-year-old Gabriela Gonzalez after she returned home from a procedure in Colorado. Harold Thompson is in jail on murder charges. It happened in a Dallas parking lot. Also today, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, oh yes, signed a bill into law that critics say makes it much harder to investigate gun crimes. This man is brain dead. The bill prevents credit card companies from affixing purchases of guns and ammunition with a special code, folks. That code can later be used to investigate gun-related transactions. Now, companies, thanks to Ron DeSantis, companies that violate the bill, guess what? They can be fined up to $10,000. It is just so pathetic. All right, last month, you remember, DeSantis signed a bill making Florida the latest state to adopt permitless carry. So that means citizens of Florida can buy themselves a gun, can carry weapons without training, without a permit, or without a background check. He don't have any sense. I'm sorry. Then a new Biden proposal is going to let conservationists lease public land. It's very important because it's the same thing that drillers and ranchers do. Now conservationists can do it, but the conservationists are leasing to restore the land so we can all kind of survive the planet. The proposal makes conservation an equal among the multiple uses that we manage land for. So far, some 33,000 square miles have been designated to protect the land, and that may sound like a lot until you find out that 242,000 acres, of Bureau land are open to grazing livestock, which causes a lot of global warming. All right, moving on to the glaciers in Greenland and the Antarctica. Of course, as we've talked about before, they are shedding ice faster, and as a matter of fact, 3 times faster than they were 30 years ago. As a result, we could see sea level rise double, and that's a huge threat to low-lying areas as well as to coastal areas, all that are vulnerable to sea rise. Greenland is the warmest it's been in 1,000 years, folks. Yes, it is. Things are so bad that most of the epic Greenland ice sheet is expected to melt, folks. Most of it's going to melt if the world heats up by 1.6 degrees, which we are now 66% likely that is exactly what is going to happen. There are also fears that the Thwaites Glacier, it's cracking up now due to warming Antarctic waters. Also, you should know the world's 200,000 mountain glaciers. That's right, folks. Guess what? They're melting much faster than they can accumulate. South American cities like Santiago in Chile, guess what? They've had much of their drinking water. Yes, that water supply is literally drying up as glaciers in the nearby Andes Mountains retreat. Whew! Then looking at the diaspora, Africa is splitting into 2 continents. Scientists say that this will eventually lead to the formation of a new ocean and give rise to a new continent. Yes, ma'am. Those are your stories. Okay, we'll be right back. Stay with me. I've got a lot more for you. The sleigh word, missing, the financial news, the international report, and Dr. K. Stay with me. Your slave word of the week, so you can level up your vocab and continue to be as competitive as we know you are, is hoodwink. That's right, folks. Hoodwink, hoodwink. It is a verb. That means it gives action to the noun. Its origin is the year 1562, people. That's right. Its definition is to deceive by false appearance. We know we can use that in a sentence. New York Republican Congressman George Santos is in trouble now. He's got all kinds of problems, okay, after he hoodwinked New Yorkers and got them to vote for him on false pretenses and as a false identity. We'll see how far that takes him. All right, folks. Let's move on to Donald Trump, who we all know, Donald Trump and his family members, hoodwinked America. That's right, folks, hoodwink. That's your slave word of the week. It means to deceive by false appearances. Use it all week in your convos and level up your vocab.
I'm just sick and tired of us not spending time together like this.
I know, baby. I know. I'm sorry I ain't been spending time with you. I've just been working on this big deal. It's gonna bring a lot more money to the household for it.
What you doing here, boss? Yeah, just checking to see if you still got it.
You take this work. Your partner. I don't want it back.
I've seen the movies, man. I know how this goes.
You see the movies, huh? You see Goodfellas, New Jack City.
Everything I do is for you. Like, I just need a little bit more time, man. Find bullshit. Like I said, he's gonna call any second.
Why don't you take a look at this video? Guess what? It's starring you.
Where are you? We're looking for you, and with the community's help, we'll find you. Have you seen 15-year-old Anaya Gayton? She's been missing since February this year from Dallas, Texas. That's Anaya Gayton. She's 15 years old. She's been missing since February of this year from Dallas, Texas. Anyone having any information, please contact McKinney Police Department, and their phone number is 972-547-2700. Where are you? We are looking for you, and if you see this broadcast, we want you to know we're looking for you. And with the community's help, we will find you wherever you are. Thank you for staying with us. We are bringing you now your international report with Dr. Inyang Ebong Harstrup. Eni, what you got for us today?
Oh, I want to talk about a report that it's a book actually that has come out. It was produced by the Universities of St. Andrew, Manchester, and the University of London, King's College, to be exact. And it looks at the racial situation and context in the United Kingdom. And I'm sorry to say, no progress has not been made. The study basically says that 1 in 3 people, there were 14,000 people in the study, and of that 14,000, 1 in 3 say that they have experienced racially motivated physical or verbal abuse. Okay? More than a quarter of those from the minority ethnic groups, so put Africans, Caribbean, Indians, Pakistanis, all of that group experienced racial insults. From almost 1 in 3 experienced racial insults in a public place. 1 in 6 suffered racism from their neighbors, while 17% suffered damage to their properties from their neighbors in racist attacks. It is so, so sad. And, you know, the leader of the study said the kind of equality that they're seeing in the study shows very clearly that it is not a just society. But what is really, really interesting is that the attacks and the racism, the problems with the police, because that was a very high number that experienced high levels of racism in interaction with the police, that they still hold loyalty and consideration to the British establishment and situation and citizenship. They still believe in the government. They still believe in Parliament.
Wow, it's amazing. And I know you know a lot about that society because you grew up there. But I'll tell you, I noticed the way that they do Meghan Markle, and that is that every single day, without exception, some aspect of the British press says something really bad about her, and they never say anything good. It is truly astonishing.
It is very, very unfortunate because essentially that is what drove her and Prince Harry out of the country, with those relentless attacks. I mean, it's gotten so bad, I don't even bother to click on any of the stories because it's just to click, you read the nonsense, she's this, she's that, she's not producing, she's not doing. The latest thing on the internet is that they'll be divorced in 2 years. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Everything you wish.
A lot of it stems from race.
Yeah, and just wishing the people of color to have bad experiences, bad things happen to them. Well, we know the situation over here, so we've got our own battles to fight, and what a battle it is that, of course, we will win. And we wish our brethren over there in the UK to also win. Thank you so much, Eni. That's your international story. We'll see you next week. We'll have more. We always let you know what's going on around the world. Thanks, Eni.
Thanks, Carol.
Stay with us. It's time for the financial news. You know we have to watch the money. Guess what? There's a new company out there that wants to give you a free TV. That's right, folks. It's in exchange for always showing you ads. Now, the name of the company is Telly. It's offering 500,000 free 55-inch dual-screen TVs. It's going to give it to you if you're willing to have a steady stream of advertisements in your home. Now, it's potentially very lucrative, folks, because guess what? The consumer-connected TV ad spending, well, it was over $15 billion in 2021. They're going for the money. The ads would appear on something that Telly is calling a smart screen. It sits below your TV screen main monitor. Telly was founded by Pluto TV's co-founder. Interesting. Also today, U.S. credit card debt, you should know it is at a record nearly $1 trillion. Pay off your credit card debt. Don't get hoodwinked by the system, okay? Federal Reserve Bank of New York, here's what they say. They say total credit card debt stood at $986 billion in the first quarter of 2023. It is a problem because usually balances fall in the beginning of the year as borrowers start paying down debt after the peak holiday shopping season. Credit card balances are up almost 20%, folks, from a year ago. The average balance rose to $5,733 over that same period. So to keep your household as financially safe as possible, you should do this. Number one, plan a payoff strategy. You gotta have a plan. Also, number two, you should snag a 0% balance transfer credit card so that you can not have interest and pay something off without any interest. Also, ask for a lower credit card rate. Just call and ask. All they can say is no, but they might say yes. And take advantage of high yield savings. And then your final financial story is this. If you were a Black woman and you took Tylenol while you were pregnant, you may be entitled to compensation. I'm talking about Tylenol or generic acetaminophen. The compensation comes if your children are now autistic or have been diagnosed with ADHD. That's attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. New studies revealed that using acetaminophen products while pregnant can increase a child's risk of developing neurological disorders. Other brand name drugs that use acetaminophen are Alka-Seltzer, who knew, Excedrin, Goodies, NyQuil or Dayquil, Midol, Panadol, Mucinex, Robitussin, Sinex, also Sudafed, Theraflu, and Topamax, and that's just to name a few. If you're wondering why there's all this ADHD out here. Moms and dads, visit lawsuitcompensation.org. That's lawsuitcompensation.org as soon as possible to see if you are eligible to join the lawsuit. Those are your financial stories. Stay with me.
Anyone who thinks that slavery ended in the 1860s with the signing of the Emancipation Proclamation are grievously wrong.
If we caught a bird, we ate through the feathers and ate the bird. We didn't have nothing to cook on. We didn't have no stove.
You know who you are and who we are. We're still on that big plantation.
She was bonded to them until they died. She was their slave.
They said, bro, we're gonna be killed tonight.
Could that same white dude keep terrorists there? Or Russian spies, or the KGB, and the government wouldn't know it? No.
They thought I was beat so bad that I couldn't do nothing, but I did.
Back at you for the close of the show with Dr. K, talking about your health. Welcome, Dr. K.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me. Oh, wow. We have to recycle a topic that, once again, is in the news, people, processed meats. Now, they are really sounding the alarm. The initial fire alarm came from the World Health Organization saying that processed meats were a Class A carcinogen. Okay. And we talked about it maybe a month or so ago. Well, there was an article in the Wall Street Journal this week, and the article was highlighting not only what the World Health Organization has stated, but also studies that were done at Tufts University, and coinciding with the fact that New York City has decided that they are taking processed meats out of any meals that they are responsible for. So that means the meals at school, the meals at New York City hospitals will no longer contain processed meats. Not only are they a Class A carcinogen, but they increase the risk of heart disease, stroke, dementia, and diabetes. Significantly. Significantly. So how many years did we put a sandwich in our kids' lunchbox?
Dr. K, I was just going to ask you, can you list what is a processed meat? What is that?
Yeah,
what is
not only that, but if you notice when you go and you order a salad and somebody might say, what's your protein? That protein is a processed meat. So the processed meats are the deli department, the deli section in the dairy case, bacon, sausages, hot dogs. These are all processed meats. Now picture a lunch without them. So these are the Lunchables.
Peanut butter and jelly.
I mean, this is huge.
Yeah.
This is huge. So they are actually saying no more processed meats. So why does it cause dementia, diabetes, stroke, heart disease, and colon cancer? Well, number one, the meats are preserved with nitrates and sodium. Now, so what they're saying is that because of the way they're processed and the fact that this is causing all these problems, can't you take some of the sodium out? So the industry may adapt. Then you find some of the processed meats that say naturally occurring nitrates. This is celery powder. However, no nitrates at all. The celery powder is not the solution. So when you see naturally occurring nitrates, you're still not operating in the safe zone and making food your medicine. You're making food your disease causer. So this is why it's incredibly important to stay out of the deli section, the meat section, the deli meat section of the packaged meats. And I mean, the city of New York taking these things out of any meals that they are responsible for.
Yeah, that's super serious. That is super serious.
Data,
so deli meat, bacon, sausages,
hot dogs,
that we would think. Say that again.
Links, hot links. I mean, Memorial Day's coming. Right.
Wow, folks, you heard it. You heard it right here. Get that processed food out of your diet, because you know they aren't doing anything to try to keep you alive. They're just doing to try to line their pockets with gold. So you
not only that, but a very interesting statistic, which is post-COVID, the consumption of processed meats has actually risen. Believe it or not.
Scary. Yeah, that's scary. Thank you so much, Dr. K. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Carol Angela Davis. Thanks, Dr. K.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. All of us here at Impact News. We'll see you next week. Have yourself a great week.